Here is the next tree we're going to be working on. It's a giant jade. And I've done a sketch. I'll show you what I kind of envisioned for it. So here's the sketch here. So reducing the trunks on this side, putting the emphasis on the slanting trunk and building kind of a canopy here, and then encouraging it to go into a bit of a semi-cascade down on this side, the left side. So that's the plan for it. So let's get out the pruners and begin. So here's the plan, keeping these lower branches and pruning off these vertical ones to take the emphasis off this side of the tree and bring it over here. So here we go.
Well,
Go ahead.
if you can do it.
You want me to do it?
So Reno's going to do the cut. So we want to cut it, we're not going to keep any of these three branches, so we want to keep these two. So you want to prune it above there. And jades, I usually leave it a little, they always tend to die back to the segment.
Do I
Oh, they
cut
shrivel
it
a
up
bit?
here?
No,
Or-
I would go right through here. See this segment here? So about halfway through that segment, and it'll die back to here. So if you can prune kind of right through there, taking, well, I guess this one will have to come off
So
separately
take
back
off
here.
the branch in the back also?
Yeah, maybe that one should come off first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off by taking off
So
this
that
back
one's
one.
coming off first. Nice. Well, there's a good cutting.
That's a nice tree right there.
And then you're going to take, you could cut like these two off first roughly and then work on the wound. We can carve that out with the other.
Take this up here then?
Sure. There you go. Big cuttings.
Okay.
And then this one. Nice. So then we just want to reduce this. So I would try and come in and cut it off here if you can get the pruners around there. Yeah, right like that.
Trouble is I can't get around the back. It doesn't open up enough.
It's working. Nice. And then maybe we can just kind of carve that flush. Yeah. And then I usually just use my fingernail and I kind of smooth the wound in. Kind of just carve it with my hand like that. Like that, and then that'll heal over and you won't even notice that someday. So does it look different already? A little bit.
Put a little fairy sitting on it.
And then I would prune these ones. I would take them back to about here. So just kind of lopping the top off.
Here?
Yeah. And this one, maybe you could keep this bottom branch and just take the top off. Yeah. Just to, further reduce them. This one maybe, it's not too bad, but it could be cut back even more. I would take that one back to about here, and then I would leave the other one.
Leave this one or not?
No.
Right here?
Yeah. Taking the tip off. It's looking better. And then these back ones are really strong. So I think I would just prune them off like to stubs. So you got to look at your rings here. Probably to about there. And same with this one, to about there. And actually, I don't think I would even keep this one. I would just keep the 2 here and get rid of that one totally. It's just too many branches in that one spot.
Start off here, you think?
Yeah, a little higher. Yeah, about there. Yeah. And then take this one right off. 3's a crowd. 2's company. I've never heard anyone say that in bonsai. Have you?
No.
2's company, 3's a crowd.
First time.
And then I would prune this upright one off and shorten this one back to here. And that'll make it nice and compact.
Here?
Yeah.
And this one?
And then that one, take it right off.
Take this right off?
Yep. 2 vertical. Yeah. So now you can see it's shifting the emphasis to this side of the tree. This is becoming
Yes.
less noticeable. It's coming to more of a slanting style.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all those cuttings.
I know. So next we've got to work on these ones. They're too strong. So again, this is a case of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches kind of growing from the same spot. So I think I kind of like this one because it's got a nice twist to it, and it flows outwards. So if this were my tree, I would take everything off here and just keep this one branch.
What about this one in the back?
The one in the back?
That too?
Yeah. I would take this whole clump off.
All of this?
Yeah. And just keep this
Wow.
one branch.
Okay. Should I do this in sections?
Sure. If you agree with that. Because you're keeping the best branch there, that nice twisty one. And all the rest you don't need there. Yeah, that's looking nice. I like it. So, yeah, so that'll regrow very quickly.
Do I take that down?
We do. We want to take that as flush as you can with the trunk. So,
should I do that more with a knife?
Yeah, let me get a little saw we'll use.
Okay.
So you'll get a feel for the tool. Maybe try it on the end here first and get a feel. Yeah. Do a little woodworking today.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done any woodworking?
Oh, yes.
Okay. It looks like you have, because I see some people come here and some people are really good with their hands. Other people are like, it's the first time they've picked up a chisel in their life. And you can just tell.
Now, how close do you want it to here?
I'd go right flush, so you can go very deep. Because Jades, they kind of just skin over and then they go smooth. That's it. It's like carving a watermelon. How juicy it is, eh?
Yeah. I think now I have to...
Yeah, maybe. Do you want to rotate the tree around a bit? Rotate her like that so you can... There you go. Just watch your fingers. I've cut myself many a time with that gouge. I used to make violins at one time.
Is that right?
Yeah. That gouge has made many violins.
Well, it's sharp, I can tell you that much.
I used to love sharpening planes, and it was like, it's so satisfying when it's when you cut through wood and it just takes paper thin slices off that you can actually see through. It's like,
Well, I'm a good sharpener.
Are you?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And you get a good feel for sharpening after a while. The right angle, you just feel by the drag on the stone or the strop or whatever you're doing.
So do you want this to be? Do you want this little edge here? Or
If you
not?
can get that even smoother, I'd go
Okay.
for it. Just watch your finger there. I'm gonna take it from this way. Yeah. So that'll skin over. So the smoother you get it, the more the wound will just disappear into
Right.
nothing eventually. If you leave a bit of a bump, it'll skin over, and you'll always have that bump there, unless you take it back
So you
later
want this
on.
almost hollowed in, almost slightly? or-
I wouldn't hollow it in, but I would try and match just the contour of the trunk. So maybe round it instead. That's probably pretty good there.
You want to take this little?
Yeah. So that wound is flush now, and you can't even see it from the front. It's quite amazing. So we left the curly branch there. So now these back ones have to be reduced. So I would keep the two lowest ones here. I'd remove this upper one totally and then prune these ones back short to stumps. So we'll kind of change the whole. Yeah.
To here?
I'd go lower still. I'd go
Below this?
right to about here. I remember Connor, he came to the KW club the first day. He brought a Jade with him, and we did this to his Jade. And he came away from the meeting quite horrified, but he says now it's looking really nice as Jade. So he's so glad we did that. So this one I would take off about here.
Okay.
So they'll just kind of be disappearing in the background there. Yeah. So now you can see from the front, it's looking very slanted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if we even need this. I don't know, it's a tough call. Maybe that's something for later on. But I could see eventually removing all that and having all your foliage out here. So
Completely.
this is more like a trunk line.
Yes.
So there's no branching there at all, maybe. But that, I think that'd be for the future. I would
Okay.
leave it like this for now. So next, the thing that really bothers me is this vertical one here. The big strong one that's
Yes.
pointing up. So that, I think that one's got to be removed totally. It just doesn't go with the slanting, windswept kind of style. That is a big cut. Seems to be the thing today. Big cuts. Mippy came over here the one day, and we did a lot of big cuts on her trees, and she was a bit horrified, but
Look at that. That's a tree.
that's a bonsai by itself.
Yeah.
So let's see it now. Ah, yes, it's looking really, really good. So next, this upright one here, I would lose that. If you look from the front here, you can see how, if you cover that up with your hand, all that top branching, it looks really nice to keep that kind of flat and horizontal. So yeah, if you cover like that up,
take this off completely?
yeah, you could leave this branch,
Okay.
but I would take it at least back to there. Or even, you could leave a stump there, I guess, maybe to there. So your foliage kind of stays in a pad there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So below this knob or above?
I'd go below the knob. You can always grow it taller, but you can't grow them shorter.
Right.
Your inner nodes. So this will be like, that'll subdivide and then subdivide again.
Right.
So you'll build up a really tight branch structure in there. So that's looking really good. Now, I think on these branches, we don't want to prune them back, but we want to keep them sweeping outwards. So I would prune off the one that's going straight up here. And possibly even the one here that's going straight up. Keeping the ones that are sweeping outwards. So yeah, I would definitely take that one off.
Right at the bottom?
Right flush, yeah. Yeah. That helps. And then this one, I would maybe just prune it back short. Here is a look at the jade. All pruned up for today. And we were debating a lot about these branches here. Removing them, maybe keeping the back one, and just removing these front two. So you'd still see kind of the trunk line. Yeah, it's a decision that can be made in the future. So it needs to be lifted in the pot a little bit. And Reno's made a special pot for this tree. So that'll be really cool. It'll look really awesome. The decision has been made to remove this one, and we're going to keep the back one, which I think is a good plan. We'll see what it looks like. So, there's no turning back on this now. There you go. Now that would probably root and create an interesting little jade plant. Wow, let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, I like that much, much better. It's nice seeing that back one now, actually. Okay. Yeah, have a look at that from the front. I think it looks...
Yeah, that looks awesome.
That looks good now, doesn't it?
Now
Yeah.
it does, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I don't like this. This part.
Right.
So
that's going to come off.
where would you go down here?
Just watch you don't cut this one.
Yeah. You want to keep the line on an angle?
Yeah, I think so.
Down. I guess I can do that with the chisel after.
Right, yeah, right like that, I think. Yeah. Now you'll get all kinds of stuff growing from those cut points.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have, a lot of choices of branches in the future.
Right.
I think you'll see it just explode in new growth because we've reduced this look how much we took off here.
And it was already 50% reduced, so
Yeah. So it's
about 90%.
yeah, it's just going to go crazy this summer. So one thing, without as much foliage, you don't need to water it much.
Okay.
Because it's used to drawing up all this moisture.
Right.
So you probably keep it fairly dry until it starts growing in again.
Okay.
Keep it out of the rain if you can.
Yeah.
It's in the greenhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That is looking really dramatic.
Oh my goodness. I need a drink.
What do you think, Laura?
It's really hot. It's too much for my heart. Are you filming me?
I am.
Oh my God.
We had to get a reaction shot. That was priceless.
Nigel. That's too much.
That's the slanting style.
Look at the carnage on the cave.
Now, why does it have a cave in it? A what?
It always had that
A
cave.
little cave. Oh, I thought you said a key. I thought. We thought it was. We were worried when we bought it that it was rotting, but no, it's
All healed, isn't it?
it's
Oh, yeah,
naked.
it's very hard.
Must have been a branch or something.
Yeah.
Broke
I
out,
don't
or
know what that is. Or maybe the whole thing fell over.
it reminds me of those bristlecone pines growing on the mountains. Kind of that look to it.
Oh my God! Do you have heart palpitations?
I'm okay.
You're braver than I am.
So you're going to see this just explode in new growth this summer. Like there's going to be shoots coming out everywhere on the trunk. It'll be amazing. You'll see.
Too much. What are you gonna do with the cuttings then? Like you just
Make more.
more? Oh no!
Give them away to people who don't want them. This
I
one,
want them.
check that one out. Like that could make a really cool little jade.
I'm gonna make something with that.
It's like a little man.
Little hobbit jade thing. Thank you for coming down today. It was a great fun working on the trees, and
Thank you.
we sure did some reduction, didn't we?
Oh, yes, reduction.
We did some damage today, that's for sure.
Well, have a safe trip back.
Alrighty,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Right, bye, Nigel.
Bye.
Bye.